This podcast is brought to you by Legend Comics and Coffee in Omaha, Nebraska, located in scenic downtown Benson. They got a new location. It's absolutely gorgeous. Check it out. And by listeners like you. Go to Patreon/Two-Headed Nerd. Become a patron. Support this show. Broadcasting from the Ziggurat at Omaha, deep below the metro area, it is my pleasure alone to welcome you to a very special pre-4th of July holiday edition of the Two-Headed Nerd comic book podcast. Listen, nerds, I'm not going to lie to you. This one started off as a Patreon extra, but it ended up being almost an hour long because Joe and I have never learned how to sum it all up and just, shut up. We love comic books so much, we can't help but talk about them. So, it is my pleasure to present to you a very patriotic, celebratory top 5 pre-4th of July holiday edition of the Two-Headed Nerd.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're getting real patriotic this week, though, because damn it.
I salute my laptop just
Next
now.
week is the 4th of July. This Thursday, we have our first presidential debate, the earliest one ever, and no one is excited for what's going to happen.
Not a single person wants to watch that train wreck.
That's why we decided to count down our top 5 bad Patriots, or as I like to call them, top 5 shitty Patriots. These
Political shitheads is what I wrote in my notes. It's just, so next Thursday is American Independence Day. 4th of July, yes, for everybody else in the world, but for people outside of America, it's just Thursday. But yes, it is the celebration of American independence. And so,
Thanks for clearing that up, Joe.
hey, look, man, you just said it's the 4th of July, which is just like no shit.
You think they don't know?
It's the 4th of July. Hey, people in Bangladesh might not know the significance of the 4th of July.
All right. Yeah. Well, to our Bangladeshi
Shout out to
listeners,
our Bangladesh listeners.
Joe is going to do a whole another 45 minutes on the history of America after this and what happened
I'm
after
just
his birthday.
saying it's American Independence Day next week, and that's why we're doing this very patriotic, or depending on how you look at it, unpatriotic segment.
So our countdown is taking a look at characters that worked for America or believed they had America's best interests in mind when they were doing whatever it was they're doing. It just so happened what they were doing was questionable at best, and sometimes flat out villainy. So
I don't even know if I go so far as to say that most of them had America's best interests at heart. I think that some of them are just out for power.
Sure. But they also believe that they're the person that should be steering the ship.
Sure, but not because they love America. It's because they love power.
Well, yeah, but one comes with the other, I think, in this
Tomato.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Let's start with our number 5.
5.
Joe Patrick, I'm gonna let you go first. I've been screaming, so you take it away.
Yeah, my number 5 patriotic shithead is Norman Osborn, specifically during his Iron Patriot era. So for those of you that don't know, Norman Osborn is also as best known as the Green Goblin, a Spider-Man villain.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Golden Goblin. Sorry. Was it?
Well, he's also the Gold Goblin.
I didn't realize
also,
there was more to that. I thought he was just
He's
always
also a lot of different things. He first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 14 in 1964, created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. So many years after Norman's creation, there was a storyline called Secret Invasion, during which Skrulls infiltrated world governments and replaced not only the governments, but the citizenry in general, and also like key members of the superhuman community. And so we had people like Jarvis from the Avengers and certain agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and political figures like that worked in the White House. Being replaced by these shape-shifting secret agents. And at the end, it's the big climactic final battle in New York City. And the Skrull Queen has been revealed. And who should be lucky enough to take the kill shot but Norman Osborn, who is then promptly awarded a position on the United States cabinet as like Secretary of Defense or whatever the hell, Director of National Security. I don't know the title is. It doesn't matter. He becomes basically the new Nick Fury. And SHIELD is disbanded and a new agency is formed called Hammer. And Norman assembles his own team of Avengers that are all secretly supervillains wearing superheroes outfits. Like Bullseye is dressed as Hawkeye. Venom is pretending to be Spider-Man.
It was great.
Yeah, Moonstone is pretending to be Captain Marvel or Ms. Marvel at the time, et cetera, et cetera. And Norman adopts. He starts wearing one of Tony's suits of armor, Tony Stark's Iron Man suits, but he has it repainted in the American flag colors and starts calling himself the Iron Patriot.
It's great stuff. For more on this, check out THN episode 708. It was our back issue show, Cosmic Longbox, When Skrulls Attack! The comics that inspired the Secret Invasion TV show. We talk about the finale of Secret Invasion in that one.
There you have it, yeah. Oh, I think we for that Patreon Extra, I believe we did a TLDR of the entire Secret Invasion storyline.
I don't know. I couldn't find that.
Somewhere around that time, I believe we did do that.
Yeah, I don't know. But we definitely did When Skrulls Attack.
We've done a lot of we've talked a lot about the Secret Invasion on the show. This is a really fun time for Marvel Comics. It's after the Civil War, and it is what leads eventually to the heroes kind of reasserting themselves and Norman being outed as the crazy person that he is, and the heroes being reinstated, the heroic age, hurrah, hurrah. But during that time, like the Dark Reign is what they called it, where Norman was in charge of national security and the inmates were running the asylum. It's fun stuff.
I mean, I would argue Norman still counts, period. He's an American businessman, fancies himself a patriot. He fit right into this role because of who he was.
Yeah, but he's not known for his nationalist tendencies.
No,
he's
but I'm
just
saying,
a power-hungry madman.
When they went to get him and offer him the job, they were like, "You're perfect. You're absolutely perfect. You run a major company. You're donating huge amounts of money to different political stooges and whatnot to do." I mean, yeah, he's the American dream. Of course, Norman should be there. Excellent choice. I mean,
it was political maneuvering.
Sure.
They didn't come to him because they thought he was the right man for the job. They came after him because they thought he was the right man for the job. He was
the perfect guy for the job.
Right.
My number 5 goes to a DC character. Well, via Alan Moore, I guess. Watchmen's The Comedian. His first appearance was in Watchmen #1, September 1986. He's created by Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore. Edward Eddie Blake, the violent, anarchistic vigilante known as the Comedian, had the longest crime-fighting career of all the costume vigilantes in the world. He fought as a hero in the Vietnam War. He was a member of the Minutemen and the Crime Busters and acted as both a hero and a villain before being killed by Ozymandias and Dr. Manhattan in 1985.
Spoiler alert for the first issue of Watchmen.
Yeah, sorry about that. The Comedian was sort of Alan Moore's take on Captain America if he just gave in and became the government stooge that they wanted Captain America to be, right?
Well, I mean, specifically, he was a parody or or whatever you want to call it of Peacemaker.
Right.
They were all Charlton.
But nobody knows who Peacemaker is, so I'm likening it to Captain America.
Everybody knows who Peacemaker is now.
They know the new one, not the Charlton one, Joe.
I suppose.
You don't know shit about the Charlton one if you watch the Peacemaker show, okay? And Peacemaker didn't make my list for that reason. But what if Captain America gave into his baser instincts? What if Captain America was this American exceptionalist shithead who thought he could get away with anything because, 1, he's a hero, 2, he's working for the greatest country in the world and they trust him, goddammit. So if that means we gotta kill some innocent kids and set some villages on fire, well, that's the damn job. He is a bad, nihilistic person.
And again, not necessarily, like in my mind at least, not necessarily somebody that is like, yay for America. It's just like, I'll do whatever because I love doing this job. I love doing this job.
I think yay for America.
I'll burn down a village.
No, I think yay for America.
There's nothing really about the
definitely counts because he believes we're the greatest nation in the world because there's people like me that are willing to do these jobs.
Yeah,
basically.
maybe.
This is how the world works.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with his placement on the list, but in my mind, like the comedian is a character that revels in his depravity.
Oh, sure. But
and so it's not really about like the mission, right?
But he also believes he's right. You know, he's not
a true believer. Like the Punisher really believes in his mission.
Right.
The comedian is just like, I'm going to burn a village because it sounds like fun.
And the comedian believes he's right because America is right, first and foremost. And that's how it works. He's like the Jack Nicholson, character in A Few Good Men. There's people out there that have to tie knots and you wouldn't understand and whatnot.
Yeah, you can't handle the truth.
But he takes it a step further where he's like, that general's an idiot, by the way. Like, I'm going to have a good time while I'm doing this. So
yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
Right.
Oh, no, wait, that's a different movie.
Yeah, that was a different movie.
That's a time to kill.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, good pick.
Yeah, love the comedian. One of the most interesting characters in that book, too, because it's like, to the world, he's a smiling, good-looking American hero, but everybody that knows him knows he is something very different and a complete monster.
4.
My number 4 is controversial take, Captain America. I'm specifically talking about Captain America, the Hydra clone.
Really? This is where you're going to go. Okay.
This is where I'm going to go.
I didn't even dignify that character with anything because it's just like, whatever.
Well, look, my alternative was the Force of July from DC, and they're lame.
I thought you might say Jonathan Walker when he was Captain America, and I'm going to talk about him in a little bit.
No, because I don't think he belongs on this list, but we'll get into that.
Terrible cat.
Captain America. All right, let me get into it. Captain America, we all know him. He first appeared Captain America Comics #1, 1941, created by Stan Lee and Joe. Pardon me. Created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby.
Easy there.
Not by Stan Lee. And he's had an illustrious career as a heroic character in film and screen, film, comics, you name it. But in the when was it? Would you say that was about 10 years ago?
I guess
10 years ago or so, there was a storyline where Captain America was fired, or pardon me, no, he had died, right? The death of Captain America.
Right.
He had died. And then in the meantime, Bucky, James Barnes, the Winter Soldier, had become the new Captain America. And so and Steve Rogers then took up a more governmental oversight role as sort of like a Nick Fury figure. Right. He wore that Steve Rogers super soldier outfit with the star in the middle and the lines. He was in the Secret Avengers. Great arc for that guy. But at a certain point, he is depowered and he loses his super soldier mojo and he becomes an old man. And that leads to a storyline called Pleasant Hill, or Welcome to Pleasant Hill is what it was called. And we learned that there is this town that's basically a clandestine SHIELD super prison. And shit goes down. There is a sentient cosmic cube named Kobik who had taken the form of a little girl. And after Baron Zemo orchestrates a breakout, he tries to use Kobik for Baron Zemo evil, of course. Mm-hmm. And Steve is brutally assaulted by Crossbones, and just at the brink of his death, Kobik uses her powers, her vast reality-altering cosmic cube powers, to bring Steve back to full youth and vitality. Super Soldier Serum restored. But what nobody knows until some months later is that Kobik had actually been indoctrinated by the Red Skull and used her powers to alter reality so that Captain America had always been a Hydra sleeper agent. And so it is revealed in the pages of Captain America: Steve Rogers #1, when that's the very infamous final page where he says, "Hail Hydra," and the internet lost their fucking minds. And it was a really kind of crazy time. It's as always, like every era, it was a time of great kind of political unrest in the real world.
Sure.
And so the idea of Marvel making their paragon of like American virtue Nazi didn't sit well with a lot of people. But it all came out in the wash. The original Steve was restored, and Hydra Cap ended up. There was a crossover called Secret Empire, where he fights the heroes. He becomes Captain Hydra or whatever the hell they call him. They call her Hydra Prime, Hydra Supreme, and he wears like a green and white version of the Captain America outfit with like the Hydra skull and tentacles in place of the star. And he is defeated. He goes on to become Captain Krakoa.
Yeah, the whole thing. Everything about this character was dumb, and that story was bad. It was bad. That's why I didn't even like.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Sucks.
And so, I think he's shitty. I think he's very, very shitty.
I mean, like, yeah, he was a bad guy, I guess. It's like they couldn't decide like how bad he was gonna be and stuff because he was like, no, I'm part of me is still Steve, so let's
no, he was bad.
Let's kill this.
He was bad,
but I am bad and I am a Nazi. And but like he was still going against his Hydra bosses for a minute there. Like it wasn't great. It wasn't great. They should have sold him as full on. And then didn't they like punch each other out of reality or something in the end? They had a big punch fight, and that's how it ended. Like,
oh boy, I don't even know.
I think Cap punched him out of reality, and that was how he.
No. Captain America defeats his nefarious counterpart in the pages of Secret Empire number 10. Jesus Christ, that storyline ran for 10 issues.
It was not good.
That crossover.
We hated that crossover.
I hated Secret Empire.
It was terrible.
You know what? So basically, Marvel turned Captain America into a secret fascist, and he was a fascist Nazi for a while. And then they were like, oops, our bad. He's a separate character. The real Steve's here. Everything's fine.
Yeah, they reacted pretty quickly.
Hydra Cap ended up becoming a joke, and Captain Krakoa for some reason. And I don't even fucking know what's going on with him now because he's not Captain Krakoa anymore.
My number 4 goes to another Captain America, but specifically U.S. Agent. First appeared in Captain America 323, July 1986. He's created by Mark Grunwald and Tom Morgan. John Walker was a U.S. Army veteran who went through the power broker process to enhance his strength in hopes of honoring his fallen brother. He joined the Universal Class Wrestling Federation as Super Patriot until he became convinced to put his skills to better use by becoming a superhero. He was later chosen to take up the mantle of Captain America when Steve Rogers retired. Walker is a hardline Christian right-wing conservative believing in country before anything else. He had plenty to say about Steve Rogers as Captain America. When Rogers returned, Walker reestablished himself as a U.S. agent, where he went on to serve as a member and even leader of various Avengers team. He would join the Thunderbolts later. He would try to take down the Thunderbolts at one point as well. His problem is not that he is a bad guy. His problem is that John Walker fully believes America can do no wrong. And America is right. And if you say anything about my country,
is a good word to describe.
He's a full-on zealot to the point where he becomes completely blinded by it. He's always been on the side of country first. Like when we had the Superhuman Registration Act, he was like, "Yep, these heroes can't be trusted. Round them all up if they're not going to sign. I'm with you guys."
Hold on, you don't remember him doing that? He did work for the government, though.
I just read about it while you were going on your.
I understand, but you want to. You're putting words in his mouth. Is my point?
No,
but yes, he did work for the government.
He was fully on side, and he was helping them go out and arrest people that violated the Registration Act. Because why think about it? It's got to be right. This is coming. Like, this is what our country needs, right? Now, later on, he would always kind of find his way back to the right side, but then afterwards refuse that he was ever wrong and shit like that because he's a zealot and he can't be wrong.
I think
he's an egotistical jerk as well. He's a great character. I really like the character, but he's just another American exceptionalist, basically, where America can do no wrong. He's a zealot.
Yeah.
And he can't see past that. And it often puts him against some of our best and brightest heroes.
So to me, the U.S. agent is essentially Marvel's Guy Gardner. And
kind of.
Yes, he's brash. Yes, he's brash. He's aggressive. He's maybe a little too quick to violence. And I agree with you that he is very much, he is a patriotic. I think zealot is a pretty good word to describe it.
He was just working for Wilson Fisk.
Well, again, but Matt, Wilson Fisk was the duly elected mayor of New York City.
Yeah, no, I get it. But he's not dumb, Joe. He knows Wilson Fisk is the bad guy. He knows he's the kingpin of crime. He's always kind of right there in the middle of this shit, right? Where he's initially...
I think he makes some bad decisions because he is blinded by patriotism, and that is true.
His knee-jerk reaction is usually bad.
Sure. But he's a character that always does the right thing in the end, or almost always. Like if he finds out in time.
Right.
And so he has been shown the error of his ways and changed his tune on a number of occasions. And yes, I agree that he is a character that as far as heroes go, if I had to pick like a number one, I'm looking for a patriotic character to round out my new superhero team. U.S. Agent's not going to be the first one I call.
No, absolutely not. In fact, maybe he should have been my number 5 if we're going in order of magnitudes of how bad they are, because he is like a comedian light, kind of. Like he's snarky. He believes he's always
not out
right,
there burning
but he's
villages.
not out burning down villages and shit like that. But he's also
comedian
a total shithead.
Yeah. This is kind of where we differed a little bit in our lists. Like everybody on my list is evil. The U.S. Agent is not evil.
No, he's not evil. He's a shitty patriot.
He's a shitty patriot.
Yeah. Everybody on my list is a shitty patriot, and some of them are evil.
Except, like, you flat out told me we were looking for evil patriots.
Well,
but
sure.
Okay.
I mean, the comedian, I guess, is like, I don't know.
He's evil.
Is he full on evil, or does he make
he's evil.
Really gross
he's a rapist.
decisions?
Yes, he's evil.
He's a rapist.
3,
My number 3 is Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. You know him. You love him. Sometimes he is in red with torn pants. Sometimes he's an old man in general's uniform. He first appeared in the pages of Incredible Hulk number 1 in 1962 as General Ross, obviously, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Boy, if
as
Stan and Jack
Hulk.
could see him now.
Yeah. He has had a long troubled history of doing the absolute wrong thing.
Oh, God.
And not even the right thing for the wrong reasons, or the wrong thing for the right reasons, but just the wrong thing.
Yep.
He is Betty Ross's dad and thus Bruce Banner's father-in-law. He was transformed into the Red Hulk, and as the Red Hulk, he made his first appearance in Hulk Volume 2, number 1 in 2008. Spoiler alert for Hulk number 1. Sorry, guys. Thunderbolt Ross is a military general, an army general, and his whole identity is that he fucking hates the Hulk.
Yeah.
The end.
Pretty much. So that starts and finishes. Well, he's a bad dad too. Don't forget that.
He's not a great dad. He's kind of an absentee shithead dad.
Yeah.
He's like obviously a decorated military general. He comes from a proud military family. He served during World War II. Like he had a good career as a military man. And then the Hulk came on the scene and like, that was it.
Oh yeah.
That was it.
He was in charge. He was looking for a mission.
Yeah. He was in charge of babysitting Bruce Banner at the Gamma facility in New Mexico where the Hulk was created. So he was there when the Hulk was created. He saw it happen. Banner and Betty were dating at the time, or at least she was sweet on him. And from the jump, he's like, fuck this nerd. And he's been turned into not 1, not 2, but a minimum of 3 different supervillains.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
He put his mind
a lot.
Yeah. At one point in the 80s, he was letting his mind be his consciousness be transferred into the electromagnetic body of the villain Zax.
Yeah.
So that he could go fight the Hulk. That he died. That's when he died. The first time he's like, oh shit, beating Zax is too hard.
The best part of this is he didn't get fired for any of this. Like think about the shit that people get fired for. Now, what if you went to work and became a supervillain.
Yeah, right.
Like, I would get fired big time, like instantly.
Yeah. And and then after that, his dead body was turned into one of the leader's goons. I forget what that character's name was, but it was during the Peter David run, the leader detonated a gamma bomb in America, and there were a number of characters that became like weird mutant Hulk offshoots. And one of them was this guy who was completely encased in this containment suit with a big domed like Mysterio bubble head, and he had a gun. And underneath there, Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
Thunderbolt Ross's animated dead body.
Of course.
And then he is resurrected, somehow permanently resurrected, and he lets the fucking intelligentsia, which is the Illuminati but with supervillains, turn him into the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
And he then punches out the Watcher. He's got like weird hot skin for some reason sometimes. Thunderbolt Ross is not a good dude.
No, he's a terrible person. And
Not a good dude.
What? Not a good general. Not a good person. Definitely not a good guy. Not a good dad.
He's bad dad.
Yeah. There's a long list of things reasons he is terrible. I 100% agree.
Now, I do think that eventually he kind of redeemed himself a bit, and he mellowed and he stopped being so
Did he?
Thunderboltish. But I mean, the damage has been done, my dude.
Yeah. Bad news. My number 3 goes to the Crimson Commando. His first appearance was Uncanny X-Men number 215, December 1986. He was created by Alan Davis and Chris Claremont. As the Crimson Commando, Frank Bohannon was one of a trio of World War II veteran superheroes recruited to be a member of Freedom Force, the original government-sponsored mutant team. Earlier, along with his partners Stonewall and Super Saber, Bohannon had become a vigilante who would capture criminals, release them, and then hunted them in the wilderness of upstate New York. The trio killed criminals both to reduce the criminal element in society, and for the enjoyment of hunting them down.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So the Crimson Commando, in doing this, his little game of death, hunting, the most dangerous animal
the most
or whatever,
dangerous game. Right.
mistakes Storm for a criminal. Do you know why he mistakes Storm for a criminal?
Because she's black.
Well, I guess I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but you're probably
I wouldn't,
right.
but okay.
No, I was going to say because she has a mohawk and she is a punk rocker in the book. He doesn't come right out and say, well,
because she's a black punk rocker.
Black girl. He's more like, that punk rock piece of trash. She's got to be a criminal. But yeah,
sure.
Probably because she's black.
probably because she's black.
So they grab her, take her to their upstate New York, where her and Wolverine end up kicking the shit out of him, Stonewall, and Super Saber. He gets arrested. They agree to turn themselves in. And of course, Freedom Force swoops right in. It's like, no way. This guy is a war hero. This guy is a total badass. He's got letters of commendation. He fought with guys he fought with the invaders. He wasn't a member of the invader, but he fought with the invaders and stuff, right? So they give him a job replacing Mystique as the leader in Freedom Force. Mystique, they thought was dead. Of course, she wasn't dead. It's Mystique being Mystique. But that's when Freedom Force got real friggin' American after that.
Well, I mean, that's the first appearance of Freedom Force, right? Because before that, they were just the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
No, they hired Mystique to run Freedom Force for a while. They were members of the Brotherhood.
Right.
That joined Freedom Force.
Like it was Pyro and Blob. And,
and Avalanche and whoever else. And then when Mystique, they thought she was dead, they brought him in to run the team.
Super Saber.
Yep, you're the new leader. Him, Super Saber, and Stonewall joined the Freedom Force. Whew. Yeah, real bad guy.
Also, kind of a shitty patriot in a different way when you think about it.
Well, I mean, worked for the government and stuff, but he just kind of hung out. I don't think he was active military at any point. I'm not really sure. He was a mutant, and
I thought maybe it was a Confederacy.
It's probably is a Confederacy, what am I trying to say? Inspired by Stonewall Jackson, I'm sure, but I don't know.
I have no notes. I don't really know enough about the Crimson Commando. I haven't read hardly any Crimson Commando
he was also,
stories.
pardon me, he was in World War II as well. He served as a superpowered team in the Allied side in World War II. They did not receive permission to continue their activities against the communists and were mustered out. Hamilton returned to his home.
So he was retroactively inserted. Well, I mean, the invaders were as well, because they didn't exist in the 40s when those original stories were made. But Claremont basically invented this guy and retroactively made him a Golden Age Marvel character.
They missed the war. They missed World War II. They missed the action. So
it happens. Hey, just like the JSA.
Yeah.
They couldn't go to Germany because of the Spear of Destiny.
Only they also, unlike the JSA, they missed murdering people.
Well, and the JSA also fought for the Allies.
When I say they missed using their powers, the end of that sentence is to murder people.
Sure. Yeah.
They were bad guys.
Gotcha.
Of
course. All right. Well, we're getting into the nitty gritty now. I think that Matt and I might see a little overlap at some point.
I don't know. We haven't yet.
Oh, no, I don't think we are, actually.
I don't think so.
You and I have completely different lists. I think this might be a first.
2.
My number 2 is Henry Peter Gyrick.
Total shithead.
Yeah.
Just a total shithead.
He's a total shithead, turncoat, xenophobe.
All of the above.
Racist.
All of it. Misogynist. All of it.
I don't know what you call, he's a bigot because he was anti-mutant as well.
Yeah. I mean, the closest thing
but I don't know what that term for that is.
The closest thing we have today to that term would be Stephen Miller, I think. That's about that's the best definition I can come up with. Other than Gyrick, full head of hair, doesn't look like a giant walking penis, but
So Henry Gyrick, sometimes called Peter Gyrick, but his full name, Henry Peter Gyrick.
I thought they were, for a while there, two separate people. Because in some comics they were calling him Henry, and some comics they were calling him Peter, and I was just like, I don't know, they're brothers.
Yeah, Henry Peter. So his first appearance was in Avengers 165, Avengers Volume 1, number 165 in 1977. He was created by Jim Shooter and George Perez, even though... Let me fact check that. John Byrne actually drew that issue. So, it is what it is. He was a young up-and-comer government official. He served under some guy named James Murch, who is not really important, but he's important enough to have his own fandom wiki page. And this was for an agency called the National Security Council. And he became like this infamous guy. They called him Bad News Pete because he was career driven and he took a hardline stance.
Yeah.
It was no nonsense. It was his way or the highway. While he was at the National Security Council, he was appointed the government liaison for the Avengers, because back then, for the longest time, the Avengers operated as not agents of the government, but officially sanctioned by the UN.
Yeah, at some point they were like, okay, we've got to have a little oversight. So let's go find the biggest shithead we can possibly find.
So Gyrick was the United States liaison for the Avengers, and he was, of course, a terror.
He was frothing at the mouth for that job, too.
Oh yeah, he was mad with power. He kept
wait.
doing stuff like he forced the Avengers to whittle their team down to an arbitrary 7 members. He
Budget
forced
cuts.
them.
Come on, this shit costs money, Joe.
I mean, something that I suppose is good in hindsight, but was not.
Those membership cards aren't free, by the way. Somebody has to print those. Those cost money.
That's true. That you think plastic's free? He also enforced the Avengers taking on specific members like the Falcon, because he was a token diversity hire, essentially, which and that's not to say that the Falcon is not worthy.
No, but he came out and said he is a token diversity hire to shut people up.
Right. And the Falcon resented the hell out of it.
Yeah. I mean, like,
the Falcon's like,
hey,
no, I don't want to be the token black guy on the Avengers. I want to earn my spot on the Avengers.
Dude was saying it out loud and not trying to sell it as something else.
Sure.
I'll give him that. It's still gross.
And this was back when the Falcon was only 77. So the Falcon was a handful of years old.
But you also don't hold that over the Falcon's head and tell him that to emasculate him in meetings.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's racist, my dude. You know?
And yeah, so he was constantly like hamstringing the Avengers attempts at fighting crime or whatever, protecting the Earth. And it was a bad scene. He was eventually replaced. He was later transferred to a different government agency called Project Wide Awake, which, if you don't know what that is an anti-mutant arm of the United States government.
Yeah.
The one that eventually recruited and rebranded the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants into Freedom Force. Bring mutants under the government thumb.
Of course.
Project Wide Awake.
This dude was responsible for every shitty thing the government did in the Marvel Universe for like 30 years.
Yeah. During the Wraith War, the Earth's war with the Dire Wraiths, during the height of the ROM ongoing series, God bless it.
Oh, yeah.
He got his hands on one of Forge's neutralizers and took away Storm's powers, which led to her becoming a Mohawk leather-wearing badass.
Which led to her getting arrested by the Crimson Commando and almost killed.
Which led to her getting arrested by the Crimson Commando.
Look at that synergy here, right there.
Later on, he would, much later on, he had a vendetta against the Thunderbolts, and he was one of the key officials responsible for denying the Thunderbolts pardons for their crimes when they decided to become true heroes.
Of course. Joe, they're criminals.
And they saved the world a bunch of times.
Joe, and they're criminals. It does not excuse them for their criminal activity. All right.
But he denied them pardons because he hated Hawkeye.
And the man believes in justice. All right. Let's not forget about that part. Yeah. He's just a shithead. He's bad.
Yeah.
He's the definition
then most recently, Gyrich could be seen working with the anti-mutant group Orcus as a key member of their infrastructure. And
of course,
he was ejected into space and left to die in the vacuum of space. They made it look like a suicide.
Good news.
This was in the pages of Al Ewing's S-word number 11.
There is
so R.I.P. Gyrich.
There is no way this is the end of Gyrich. There just is no way.
Mean,
you can't kill this cockroach. That's not how it works.
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, he's
he'll be back.
You're right because that sword stuff was before Orcus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, he definitely worked with Orcus during the war with Orcus.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just came right out. He said the quiet part out loud, as you like to say, and was like, I'm gonna help exterminate a race of people.
Hey, that's what the government said. We think this is a good idea. And he went, I'm your guy. So
yeah. Gyrich sucks. I mean, he's a great character.
He's a fantastic character. He's the character
and he's a lot of fun to read.
You love to hate him.
But he is awful.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
He's comic book heel level bad guy in the Marvel universe. That is not necessarily the guy that comes up with the plan, not necessarily the guy that's going to execute the plan, but he is the guy that the government trusts to make sure the plan gets done. And he goes, yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. You're right.
Oh, he's great. I love it. My number 2 goes to Nuke. First appearance, Daredevil, number 232, in March back in 1986. He was created by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. Frank Simpson was the disturbed son of a wealthy, abusive, alcoholic, upper-class woman in Ohio. Frank soon developed an unhealthy affection for his babysitter, the only real maternal figure in his life. The young woman, who was harboring feelings for his father, Charles, capitalized on Frank's affection and talked the boy into killing his mother.
Yikes.
Wolverine, whom at the time was an operative for the ruthless organization Weapon X, had been sent to kidnap Frank. Logan showed up dressed as a police officer. He then stalked Charles Simpson and the babysitter, eventually shooting the girl with Charles's gun, after which Charles committed suicide. Wolverine then went to Frank's place and abducted him for Project Homegrown. Yeah. It turned out to be like a take on Project X, basically.
He was part of the Weapon Plus program.
Yes, they were making soldiers for the United States. Now, is he a victim? Absolutely. I without a doubt. But he is a victim that has turned into a monster. And by the time that he meets Daredevil, I first met this character in Daredevil. It wasn't 232. It was much later when he popped up again. But he was very much this pro-American lunatic soldier who had to believe he was doing the right thing, and everything in his life led to where he is now. He's got an American flag tattooed on his face. He has super strength, and he is completely psychotic. He was supposed to be another Captain America. It did not work out because he has deep emotional issues that started as a child, as we heard. And yes, he's been taken advantage of by everybody who's used him to do anything in the name of the country. But he is a murderer. He is a rapist. He is a super-powered killing machine, and about as bad as you could possibly be. Do I feel sorry for Nuke? Not anymore. No. Maybe there was a time where he could have been saved, but no, that time has come and gone. And we've seen him too much in control of his faculties, where he is not apologizing for anything that has happened or accepting any responsibility for anything that's happened to him in his life. I think he's a monster.
I struggled with including Nuke on my list, but I did come down on the side of Nuke being a victim. He is severely mentally ill, for one thing. He has been brainwashed by the government, or by the Weapon Plus program, who I don't really think is governmental. I think it's just shady, extra legal operation.
I think Weapon Plus was full on government. Weapon X was shady operational.
Yeah, but Weapon X is part of the Weapon Plus program.
Right.
Weapon Plus. That's what Grant Morrison revealed, is that the Weapon Plus program. Wolverine wasn't Weapon X; he was Weapon 10.
Oh, right. No, I see.
And so, like, Nuke was one
Plus.
of them. He was part of the Weapon Plus program.
Yeah.
So was Deadpool, for that matter. And so, but yeah, essentially, the Weapon Plus program churns out killing machines.
Sure.
It's just a matter of whether or not they can control that killing machine.
Right. Wolverine
and Nuke was victimized, damaged, brainwashed, and completely controlled through narcotics.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I mean, yes, he's done all the things that Matt said. Yes, his identity is all tied up in his patriotism, but like Nuke is also sort of a tragic figure. But that's just me. Like, I went in a different direction with my list.
I agree. He's a tragic figure. I was just going for, oh my God.
Oh yeah, no, and you're not wrong. But also
Nightmare.
a lot of the stuff about Nuke came later, when it was retroactively added by Daniel Way during the Wolverine Origins.
Oh yeah.
Series, because that original Nuke story, Daredevil Born Again with Nuke, like Nuke that's like what, a 4-issue story, 4, 5, 6 issues.
Yeah, I think it's a 4-issue.
And so like we don't get a lot about Nuke's whole deal, except that we know that he is a fanatic that's being manipulated.
Right. Oh, and Daredevil picks up on that, but there's no saving him either.
Well, I agree with you there.
1.
All right, this is it. My number 1. And boy, I wish this wasn't the case, but my number 1 patriotic shithead is Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller is a character that first appeared in Legends #1 in 1986. She was created by John Ostrander, Len Wein, and John Byrne. And she was a mother. She grew up and raised her family in the Cabrini Green area of Chicago, a very like crime-ridden area.
That's where Candyman came from.
What's that?
Candyman, he came from there too.
There you go.
Yeah.
She married young. She had 5 kids, 2 of which were killed through violence. And she vowed, like, the violence will not take any more members of my family. And so she worked hard. She put herself and her children through college, and she earned a political science degree, and she went into politics, and she went to become a campaign director. She wanted to become a campaign director for this congressional candidate, Democratic congressional candidate. And she was successful in helping him get elected. And he took her to Washington as his aide. And while she was working for him there, she discovered the old Task Force X files and asked if she could revive the Suicide Squad. So Amanda Waller created the Suicide Squad, which is a concept that did exist before in a very different form.
Different way. Yeah, very different way.
As a branch of the American military, I guess, or government, where supervillains were offered the chance to help the government do, let's say, mostly heroic things.
Questionable things. Jobs.
In the beginning, Task Force X was like relatively
right, well,
like they weren't like,
you couldn't call the Titans to do this. You couldn't.
No. Right.
These are things that we needed done for the country that needed to get done, and they weren't always pretty. And we'd take some time off your sentence. Every time you do, we'd take a little bit of time for your sentence. This is before, like, there's a bomb in your brain.
No. There was a bomb in their brains from the beginning because they were let loose in the world.
Oh, that's
their
right.
Powers and
that's
gear.
right. They did do that from the beginning. You're
and
right.
so, like, yeah, you work for us. You go on missions for the government. We will take time off your sentence. We will let you loose in the world when it suits us. But in exchange, we are going to put a bomb in your brain, because if you try to escape with your superpowers intact, or your gear, your satchel full of trick boomerangs or whatever, I'm going to push a button and blow up your brain, because you can't be allowed to leave.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, thus the Suicide Squad as we know it was born. And throughout the years, Waller has gotten progressively more and more and more evil, to the point where she went from being a anything goes for in order to safeguard the country kind of stance to all of the superheroes need to be either killed or imprisoned because they can't be allowed to have power.
Right.
And now here we are on the eve of absolute power, which the kind of prelude issue came out today. By this point, hopefully you will have heard the episode where I reviewed it. And she is teaming up with literal supervillains, the new Brainiac Queen and Failsafe, Batman's killer robot, to send an army of Amazos to depower and capture the heroes of Earth. These aren't even like, the heroes aren't even accused of anything bad.
No.
It's just like, nope.
She's never liked them, thinks
Superman's
they're too powerful.
Too dangerous to live.
And
Go
she knows they can't be controlled, and she wants control. Amanda Waller, if she existed in the Marvel Universe, would be Henry Gyrick's boss.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
or she would be. She is kind of similar to the DC equivalent of a Henry Gyrick.
Yeah.
Except she's less bad at it. She's very good at her job.
She's very good at it.
She joined Lex Luthor's cabinet when he became president, and she became Secretary of Metahuman Affairs as a member of the Luthor administration. She took over Checkmate, or rebranded Checkmate, or pardon me, reformed Checkmate during like the OMAC project, where the OMACs were going around and also like shutting down superheroes. She has been trying to kill superheroes for, I don't know, almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
And before that, I would have told you that Amanda Waller was a good guy. She just does some morally gray things.
Yeah, this is true.
But now I would say that Amanda Waller is a villain.
Without a doubt. She's been a villain for a long time.
A long time.
Yeah. There's like no coming back from where she is now. She is a full-on villain. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, a villain that thinks she is doing the right thing, that thinks no one can be trusted with this power. Superman can't be trusted with this power. I am the only one that should be trusted with this power. Not saying it makes her good or right, but that is what she believes.
My only comment about that is that I think that they have gotten away from the idea that Amanda Waller thinks she's right. And now it's just that Amanda Waller wants to be in charge.
Well, I mean, why do you think she wants to be in charge? She thinks she's the smartest one. She thinks she's right. Yeah.
It's been a long time.
She's just Lex Luthor level.
It's been a long time since I've been convinced by a story that Amanda Waller believes that she's actually doing the heroic thing.
I think she understands that heroism is not black or white. It is a different thing, Joe. And weenies like you're the problem. You don't get it.
That's not what I said.
You don't get it.
I said I think that DC has lost sight. I think, in my opinion, DC has lost sight of what made Amanda Waller such a wonderful, multifaceted character. Okay. And now she's just a generic one-note superheroes are bad supervillain.
Oh, sure. Like when you were going to like find things like the helmet of hate and give it to someone that you know it's gonna like.
Yes, right.
You've crossed into mustache twiddling evil.
Yeah, exactly my point. Yes.
My number one goes to Major Force, another DC character. First appearance, Captain Atom, Volume 2, Number 12, from February 1988, created by Cary Bates and Greg Weisman and Pat Broderick. Sergeant Clifford Zmek, I mean, of course you're going to be a bad guy if that's your last name, was a certified psychopath, court-martialed by the United States Air Force in 1969, and convicted of murder and rape. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, but Project Adam gave him a chance to be pardoned. Experiments had been performed the previous year by subjecting an alien metal to a nuclear blast with a test subject encapsulated by the metal. Sounds perfectly safe, right? Mm-hmm. Nathaniel Adam was the first volunteer, ADAM, and he was apparently killed by the blast. So Zmek was giving a triple layer of the alien metal, this ought to do it, to protect him before being subjected to a nuclear blast. The Major Force project was deemed a failure after Zmek was apparently also killed. In truth, the force of the explosion had catapulted him into the quantum field and shot him decades forward in time. Zmek re-entered the time stream and found that the alien metal was now fused to his body, giving him superhuman powers. Spoiler, he would not use them for good.
Yes, the same thing happened to Captain Nathaniel Adam.
Right.
The explosion like did something to the alien metal and it propelled him forward in time, and thus Captain Atom was born.
Right. This is his nemesis.
The moral of the story is don't stop trying to blow up that metal. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Well, it's a bad idea, but the government, they needed. And
also, why did you need a man to go with it? Like, what for?
They wanted to make a superhero. Obviously, is what they were doing.
Sure.
Instead, I met this character in the pages of Green Lantern, Volume 3, Number 54, a very famous issue where he shows up with flowers for Kyle Rayner's girlfriend, murders her, and stuffs her in a refrigerator.
Folds her up like an origami swan.
Yeah.
Stuffs her into the fridge.
Major Force didn't believe he was a hero, didn't necessarily want to be a hero, but took the powers he was given by the government, used his name, and basically did whatever he wanted to until someone had power to stop him, basically.
I mean, this is my opinion. This is not my list, but like I would never consider Major Force in any way patriotic. Like, yeah, he was in the military, but lots of guys are in the army.
Sure.
Like, he was a rapist and a murderer, right, and he lucked into some superpowers
pretty much,
and then used them to continue to be a rapist and a murderer.
Right. Like later on, they would be like, no, we don't want him in the Suicide Squad type stuff.
But he did get forced into working for the government on multiple occasions.
He did.
So, again, I mean, I guess technically he counts.
Again and again and again. Yes. And he kept saying, I'll do what I have to for my country and shit. Like, will you, dude? I don't know.
I don't think that's true. I think he just likes doing bad things.
I mean, sure, there's that too, I guess. No, he's a terrible patriot. Really, really, really bad. And a good example of why you don't blow up alien metal with people inside of it.
Yeah. So Major Force, yeah, in case you didn't put two and two together, Major Force and writer Ron Mars are why we have the term fridging today. Like,
there you
it's
go.
because of that.
There
Green
you
Lantern
go.
number 54.
This is crazy. This is the very first time we've never had any overlap on this.
I think this is the first time our top fives have been completely different.
I think you're right.
I'm proud of us.
It's crazy. Well, we got some shitty Patriots here. That's for certain.
I mean, I guess that goes to show you that there's lots of them.
There's plenty. Yeah. When the typically, I mean, in comic books, when the government decides we're going to force this hero thing, like we're going to go out and make a hero to do.
I mean,
what we need,
yeah, it's
no
it's
pun
never
intended.
gonna work
but
out.
yeah, when you try and force a hero, you end up with Major Force.
Yeah, it's bad.
Don't do it. There's your lesson, America. Captain America, lightning in a bottle. All right. We hope you enjoyed this very special 4th of July, very patriotic edition of THN. Please be careful. Don't blow off any of your fingers. And if you are watching the debate on Thursday night, I highly suggest you don't do it sober. So, better yet, just listen to the show. If you have the TV on, listen to this, and you'll have a perfectly nice time. This is THN, wishing you a happy 4th of July. Be safe, be smart, have a good one. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming after the holiday. But for now, this is the Two-Headed Nerd, signing off.